if people are all going to have the same secondary weapon anyways, why not reward a player kill by at least, hey, now I can save 600 scrap and then use that for a purple shield like end game. You're rewarding people for playing the PvP of your PvPvE game. I mean, I'm definitely excited. Like, give it a try. I'm still gonna be playing. Don't get me wrong. Every day, all day, every day, because I'm absolutely addicted to this game. Hey, what it do? What it do? What it do? It's ya boy Q. And welcome back to YouTube Explorers. Look, I'm excited. We've already got another patch coming, just another week after the last one we've got. This is going to be our patch notes for the May 13th hotfix. So by the time most of you guys are watching this, it's already going to have updated. But I know there's going to be a lot of people looking this up and wanting to know what they updated and maybe don't want to read it. So this is going to be for you guys. All right. Explorers, our main goal during early access is to create scavengers with you. And that means trying things out, listening to your feedback, and sharing lessons. In last week's patch, we wanted to introduce more incentives for PvP by allowing you to loot enemy weapons on a squad wipe and create more trade-offs for running high rarity loadouts by increasing scrap costs and reducing scrap drop rates from caches. Which makes sense, that's what they did, right? I feel like they maybe went a little too high here, which is why I'm glad to see that they've gone, they're scaling it back. I don't know if they're scaling it quite back enough what it needs to be on the high end, but with the increased scrap rate, we'll try it out and see how it feels. I don't know why we're backpedaling on the incentive for PvP here, although I understand what the community's complaints were. And we'll address those in the video, actually. After assessing the game state, looking at our weekend data, and listening to your feedback, we don't think we quite hit the mark with our change list. The changes below are to correct some of the side effects from last week as we move forward to improve scavengers. So basically, most of this, there's going to be some stuff that's obviously crash bugs and things that they're addressing, but for the most part, it's just addressing last week's patch, it looks like here. Now, they are going to be staying on top of anti-cheat, which is pretty cool. Of course, it's always good to see a game that's online staying on top of that. They're keeping it a top priority, so if you see people, make sure you're not only reporting them in-game, but if you happen to be in their Discord, if you can do screenshots and stuff and report on Discord as well, it's going to help them out over on their side. All right. So let's take a look at their what they're changing here in the looting player weapons. In last week's hotfix, when a squad was eliminated, the players dropped their weapons. This was introduced to provide a reward to getting player kills, which makes sense, right? After listening to feedback and reviewing the data over the weekend, we realized that this didn't meet the objective we were striving for. Okay. I think a lot of people's complaints were that you could have a team full of snipers at the end game, but then that just means go kill them. You know what I'm saying? It's a PvP, and I feel like when played correctly, long range is actually at a little bit of a disadvantage, but that's for a whole nother video. Filling your loadout by crafting over the course of the session should be a rewarding pursuit. It's cool and fun to sometimes shortcut that by finding high-end weapons, but having them drop when a player is killed devalued that dynamic. Does it though? I don't know. We'll talk about that here in a second. Hold on. Let's read the rest of this. We're reverting those changes. Players will no longer drop weapons when a team is eliminated. This includes all weapons, not just signature weapons. See, I think so. I can agree on the signature weapons to an extent. I think I think we're really going back by doing the all weapons portion here, right? If we're being perfectly honest, the all weapons portion is, especially when you have weapons like the War Song, which is kind of the primary secondary weapon, wildcard weapon that you're seeing a lot of people craft, that or the Argonaut. So if people are all going to have the same secondary weapon anyways, why not reward a player kill by at least, hey, now I can save 600 scrap and then use that for a purple shield end game. You're rewarding people for playing the PvP of your PvPvE game. I'm definitely excited. Give it a try. I'm still gonna be playing. Don't get me wrong. Every day, all day, every day, because I'm absolutely addicted to this game. You can find us over on Twitch. Link for that's going to be down in the description below. That said, we still want to reward players for those epic player versus player battles. So we're introducing a new change. Okay, so anytime a player is eliminated, they will drop scrap. If a team is eliminated, they will drop bonus scrap. Everybody drops bonus scrap or just the last person? Players are still rewarded for PvP encounters, but the emphasis is now on crafting their loadout build rather than picking up enemy weapons. You can read the full details about the scrap adjustments in the section below. All right, let's check this out. Last week, we adjusted the amount of scrap received from strategic caches to create more trade-offs for running high rarity loadouts. Correct. They made it to where it was really hard to run like purple shields plus get like your purple weapons, which kind of makes sense. But if you're upping your PvP, I don't know how much they're gonna need to adjust like their actual PvE drops, but let's see. The optimal strategy was for teams to split up to unlock strategic caches while avoiding PvP fights in the early game. And once late game started, the scarcity of scrap made it harder for teams to craft late game items. Right, so why don't we encourage early game PvP, I guess would be my question, and I don't think that seems to be addressed at this patch, and that's fine. We're actually working on a video right now for that. So if anyone's watching this video and is interested on like why PvP is actually good for scavengers, we're actually gonna be dropping that video either later this week or next week. Feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, that way we can catch you back here for that video. We want players to have access to scrap at various points during the match. During the beginning, players can level up by scrap available in strategic caches and AI units. As players pivot to focus on other goals, crafting higher tier weapons, gathering the most data points, hunting down the opposing team, the ways to collect scrap shift. Yo, Q, English isn't hard, I promise. With fewer large PvE sources in late games, players can still collect scrap through PvP and PvE sources. But can they though? Like you just said in that statement that like I agree that people should be splitting up in the beginning, and I think that should be encouraged. However, I think if we encourage more early game PvP, that should mean that more of the tactical points of interest are available in the mid game, meaning that there's more scrap available, right? A killed player will drop a small portion of the scrap in their inventory, which other players will be able to pick up. So it's from their inventory. Okay, I like that. Originally when I read that, I didn't pick that up, so that's actually cool to see. The scrap penalty upon death ensures that we don't inflate the scrap economy through the match, and to provide a consequence for engaging in risky strategies. Agreed. I like that. The amount of scrap drop should generally be a small percentage of the overall inventory value unless the player is only carrying a small amount of scrap. Oh, so that's saying like if they have less than what the minimum value of what they're dropping is. See, I agree with that, but at the same time, like I feel like the value of PvP in a PvPvE game should be high, right? To encourage PvP, so you don't have like 12 teams all going for the dropship at once, and that's why no one's had like any points of interest available in the last two storms. I don't know. Again, we're gonna cover that in our video later, so make sure if you're looking forward to that, hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. This scrap penalty also adds a consequence to risky strategies, as players lose a not inconsequential amount of scrap. Let's just move on from that. I guess I'm just confused because it's not really, it's like, I guess not that much scrap that you're losing. Realistically. Especially in early game. Compared to what I'd be getting for, you know, eliminating the person going for the tactical cache. The amount of scrap drop depends on the player's shield level, with a bonus for eliminating the entire team. All right, so let's check this out. So if they have a common shield, so early gain, if it's just a teammate and it's just by themselves, like if they're separated from the squad, like we see, you get 25 scrap for each death. If they're the last teammate alive and it eliminates the team, they're going to drop 150 scrap. Okay. If they have an uncommon shield, so the green shield, the teammate, and it's like, it's just a person, you're not eliminating like the final person, it's 50 scrap for each death. If you eliminate the entire squad, it's 300 scrap. So I do like that, like when you eliminate a squad after, like in later game, you're getting a decent amount of scrap. I can respect that. Anyways, let's just move on. So for the blue shields, so more like mid game usually, right? Mid to late game. If you're eliminating just a player, not the team, you're going to get 100 scrap for each death. Still not like a big swing, but if you eliminate the entire team, the last person is going to drop 600 scrap, which is pretty huge. And of course, remember, this means that scrap's going to every player, right? So at the very late game, in end game, when people are running around with their epic shields, if you eliminate a single player, it's 150 scrap. If you eliminate the entire team, you basically get a full inventory, right? Because you're gonna get the 150 scrap probably from one player, and then 900 scrap from the final elimination. So you're getting a free whatever, essentially, at that point. Pve Scrap Stores, let's talk about that real quick as well. We're also adjusting the scrap from PvE encounters. I think that's also a good idea, putting more scrap on the map. I think in the game state right now, very good idea. Scrap gains from AI is to bring the scrap economy into a little more balance, where every player team can accrue scrap through the natural course of play, basically saying without PvP. That's tough. Forced to pursue strategic camps to progress. Here's the breakdown. Non-elite AI increase frequency, so scrap will drop more often. So for elite AI, they will also increase frequency, and 30% more scrap is dropped. So they are definitely putting a lot more focus on the PvE portion, which I know is a very big, I know that there's a very big PvE E side of the community. I think at least some PvP is really needed for the game to be healthy, honestly. I'm not going to get caught up on that, but it's nice to see that they're also increasing just your natural AI scrap count. We'll have to see as far as the non-elites, what kind of frequency increase. This is one of the things that's, I know that they don't like sharing percentages and stuff for a certain reason, but we also don't have a lot of other figures. This is something here where it's just hey, if it's just a 10% increase, let me know. You know what I mean? Just so I know what I'm looking for, so I can also help you and see if it is a 10% increase, or maybe we aren't seeing as much, But that's okay. We'll see what kind of drops more they get from the PvE. I think that's a good idea, especially because, you see so many people late game running around with green or blue shields. You're not really seeing much purple, but some of that's going to be fixed here. It looks like as far as with the adjusted crafting cost. When crafting, we want to introduce strategic choice. Do you want to upgrade your shield or weapon first? Fair. That's kind of the point of a survival game, right? Is now the perfect time to craft a thermal boost or save the scrap for a vehicle? I like that they're talking about the vehicle, because I feel like the vehicles aren't used at nearly as much as they should be in the game, especially because the vehicles can be used for PvP. When looking at the data after the hotfix, we realized that we might have tuned it a bit too far. Agreed. I think that's pretty well universally agreed. Again, I'm really glad that they're listening to their community, honestly. We want players to have various options, but not feel as though items are completely off the table. We're adjusting the scrap cost for most of the weapons and shields. We're not completely rolling back the changes, but it should be slightly easier to craft high rarity weapons and shields. I believe I kept telling everyone they were probably going to scale it back to somewhere in the middle. Let's see if that's actually where we ended up landing. So here's the breakdown. Uncommon weapons decreased from 300 to 200. So I believe those were originally increased by 100, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a 50% increase overall. So they scaled it back by half. I like it. Rare weapons decreased from 600 to 500. I think those went from 400 to 600, if I'm not mistaken, meaning it was an overall 50% gain. Again, cut it in half. I think that's a good idea. Epic weapons decreased from 800 to 750. You know what, though? With the increase in scrap from AI, as well as from PvP, honestly, that's probably not bad. Let's be real. And there's no change to legendary weapons. Not bad. If you're getting a full wipe from a team elim late, that's where you craft your legendary weapon, right? So let's be real. It's still attainable. Again, it encourages more PvP, and that's what the game, honestly, it needs a healthy balance of both for the game, I think, long term, if we're being real. We also changed the number of craft consumables from 2 to 1, which was a mistake. We wanted to heighten the danger of being stuck in a storm, but it didn't quite work as expected. By eliminating it to only 1 thermal boost, it prevented players from crafting items for their teammates. Scavengers is a squad game, so we want to still be able to help out teammates in a pinch. We'll look into other methods of heightening the danger when caught in a storm. We are reverting this change, so get ready to craft 2 thermal boosts next time your team is caught out in a storm. Which is cool, But also in our most recent video, 10 tips and tricks, we also talked about ways to prevent from really needing that much thermal boost right up front in a pinch. But honestly, I think it's healthy for the game. Honestly, the thing I really wouldn't have minded is if the cost per thermal was still the same. I didn't mind only crafting one at a time, but I think if I would have had to craft it and it crafted only be 50 scrap, I think I would have been a-okay with it. It is a survival game after all, right? We hear your concerns on the balance of end game match rewards. For now, we want to make it less punishing for those who die without extracting, as you can sometimes get stuck on your progress trying to get more salvage for your research. 100% agreed. Very smart move. But unable to do so because you can't make it to the end game. Yes, agreed. And again, because you should be encouraging PvP. So I think this is fair, right? There are meant to be other sources of salvage, and these will be introduced in future. However, without those in place, the end of match salvage became the only way to progress. This was never our intention. So we're making some adjustments. Player can now keep the salvage collected by all members of their squad, even if their team is eliminated or they are left on the planet. So you're getting all of it. Is it not dropping then when you're eliminated? Is that what's happening there? We'll have to see. Rejoice and enjoy your spoils, whether you are eliminated, left on the planet, or successfully extracted. So first off, I just want to say the fact that they looked into this whole portion, super hats off to the dev team. I think that the research portion of Scavengers is an absolutely really cool thing. It's a really unique feature. I think it's something that makes you have to have a strategy of what you're doing with your minerals and your components. I think they could maybe simplify it a little bit for newer players, but I think doing this will allow them to really expand their research in patches moving forward and, other complete updates. So that's really cool. Respawn after dropship arrives. Hopefully this is saying that we're gonna spawn closer to the dropship, right? When the match comes to a close, all surviving teams scramble to make it to the dropship and successfully extract. With the circle closing, those who die in the last few minutes of the match could respawn close to an enemy or at enough of a distance that there is no way to make it to the dropship on time. That is so frustrating. Oh my goodness, we've seen it so many times, chat. We also want to add more risk and consequence when players die. Being unable to respawn accomplishes that. Here's what changes. We're turning off respawning after the dropship lands, so anyone who dies will be eliminated. So for the whole 5 last minutes. That means no one's going to be fighting at the ship. I think this was meant to encourage PvP, and I'm sure at a table discussion it made sense, right? It encourages PvP, so that way when you do go to eliminate someone, you don't have to worry about them respawning, and there should be progressively less people alive in the match in the last 5 minutes. In theory, when I say that out loud, it makes sense. And we're gonna have to see how it works out in practice. I think that's going to encourage more of the stealth gameplay and, using Cruz's ability to push into the ship last minute and let Ballora throw up or bubble the minute that you get in. I hope that's not the way that the game goes, because I do not favor that type of gameplay personally, especially now that you're going to get salvage regardless. So that's not a punishment. Again, we're just going to have to see how it works in practice, honestly. Here are the bug fixes, though, as well, to wrap this up real quick. I know you guys want to get back to your gaming. They did fix some crashes when cycling through the menus in the tutorial. They fixed some audio crashes as well. I'm not sure if you guys were experiencing that. That was a big pain in the rear. They also fixed the mini leaderboard during the match, which is pretty cool. Sometimes it would just show how many teams were left. It's going to be nice that you can actually see that without having to hit your tab. And I don't know if people were doing that this last one, disabling fog during match. I don't know how that was a thing. So I'm glad they fixed that. So first off, you'll see they left a note It's only a small portion of the issues that they're currently working on. They're hearing a lot of other issues. You know, they're just doing a hot fix every week. These are the problems that they've already fixed, guys. Continue to use your open line of communication with them via Twitter or Discord and share your thoughts. It's awesome to see that they're really like responsive with their community. And honestly, it makes me feel really good about the state of the game of Scavengers moving forward. Because I'm having a lot of fun playing the game. We're playing it like 5-6 days a week over on our Twitch. Link for that's going to be down in the description below. And I'm also having a lot of fun digging into different content here on YouTube for you guys as well. So if you're looking for more Scavengers content, not only check out that playlist that I'll leave at the end, but of course you can always hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on. That way we can catch you back here for the next video. All right. And if you have made it this far in the video, hit the video with a like and leave a comment. You know, help us out with that good old algorithm and all that. All right. Until the next video, though, for real, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. It's your boy Q, signing out.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be as fresh as CUE.